What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for April 20th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday edition of the podcast. Happy Easter to everybody out there who celebrates. Godspeed to any parents out there whose kids are hopped up on jelly beans and want to eat chocolate bunnies for breakfast. I feel your pain. Also, it's another holiday for another certain segment of the population, so enjoy your day as well. It is April 20th, 420, so I'm going to leave it at that. Keep it family friendly, but for that segment of the population out there, enjoy your day as well, and maybe you can have some jelly beans. All right, let's do some housekeeping before we get into this. First, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and continue to spread the word. That's at Jimbo_Mont as we continue to grow. Just a quick programming note, a reminder, tomorrow we're going to start our Eagles draft spotlight, where we're going to look at each round and go over some of the top draft picks in Eagles history. We tend to do bust and make it negative a lot on this podcast, and again, keeping with the new Philly mindset, I'm going to twist it around and talk about the best ones. So the best ones from each round tomorrow. We're going to start with supplemental drafts, so stay tuned for that on a Monday. All right, let's start with yesterday's question of the day. And man, did this strike a nerve with a lot of people. And I got to be honest, I love it because that's the whole point of the question of the day. But I asked you, if it meant getting Abdul Carter, would you trade A.J. Brown? And this was much closer than what I thought. 63% of you said no. However, there were a lot of compelling arguments on both of them. But I want to address one in particular, and Blue Leprechaun 2 on Twitter basically said, no, why would you trade A.J. Brown for a position that is deep in this NFL draft? Hard to argue with that. Said it would ruin the offense. Again, hard to argue with that because you look at their record with A.J. Brown versus without. And then finally said that this question should be thrown in the shredder. Now, he was like, why would people even ask this? Blah, 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 blah. Went on this little rant, I guess, ripping the question of the day. However, this was the whole talk of the town on Friday. Lots of people talking, AJ fanning flames, trolling Patriots and probably Eagles fans for that matter. I think it's a legitimate question, especially given that Howie Roseman is known to make some bold moves. I personally, like I said yesterday, I don't think I would do it. However, apparently 44 or whatever my math is, 36% of you would do this. So, but I appreciate your banter and talking Blue Leprechaun to spread the word about the podcast. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There will be another one later here in the show. All right. Well, not sure where to go here with the Phillies. It was a wild one. Should have been a laugher, walk away. And then Jordan Romano came in and almost single-handedly blew this game. Phillies went up from being up 11-4 to only winning 11-10, costing many run line bettors like myself their bet. And really, this one is 100% on Jordan Romano, and it should not have been close. They did win the series. They'll play the third game today. But I think my key takeaway from this game is the fact, and again, I get that it's the Marlins, but sometimes you need these games to get right. In college football, they schedule cupcakes. In the NFL, sometimes they call it a get-right game. This is a get-right series for the Phillies, especially with the Mets coming. I think the Phillies actually go to New York. Actually, let me look that up real quick while we're going. But the big series coming up tomorrow against the Mets. So it's good that they're getting things right now. And sorry, as I'm looking this up. But offensively, they scored 11 runs, had 18 hits, and didn't hit a home run. So they scored 11 runs. And so that is the kind of production we're kind of looking for. And then you throw in a couple long balls here and there, and they'll be good. By the way, Phillies do go up to New York tomorrow. But 18 hits, no home runs. And if they could somehow get it together, and I saw some pieces of the pitching rotation, both the bullpen and starters, are pitching well. So maybe, again, we were a little too tough on them earlier in the season. But somehow they were able to pull it out yesterday, win the series against the Marlins. Big series coming up tomorrow against the Mets. Would not be the least bit surprised if the Phillies do lose this game today. However, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound, making it his first start against his former team. So you know he should be fired up. Looking forward to that one here on an Easter Sunday. Union did their part yesterday. Got back on the winning side of things, winning 3-0 over Atlanta down at Subaru Park. Quinn Sullivan, Danley Jean-Jacques, and Ty Baribeau all scored goals for the Union. Good to see them back. And again, I mean, they have some pieces in place. I know there's a plan going on, so it's exciting. We'll see how it goes. We do have some non-Tankathon news for the Flyers. Danny Briere spoke to the media yesterday, and I think my biggest takeaway is that they're going to start looking to add. He's like, we're at a spot now where we're going to start looking to add to help this team rather than sort of subtract and get some of the young guys. He mentioned that some of those additions could be some of the younger guys down in the minors. It could be through free agency, obviously during the draft. They have a lot of draft capital, so he said they should be active. Goaltending could be an area where they need to go. He did say you're not going to be able to fix all the issues this offseason, but it's good to see that we're at the part of the rebuild now where they're going to start to kind of add and look ahead to the future and possibly, just possibly, make a playoff run next year. But we did do a Tankathon this morning, and the Flyers, Flyers kept their fourth pick. So the Flyers got the fourth overall pick today during our Tankathon simulation. We're going to continue to do these every day for the Sixers and Flyers until their respective draft lottery days, which the Sixers is May 12th. The Flyers is sometime in May. I do not know if it's been announced yet. So sticking with that theme, we did run the Sixers, and the Sixers actually moved up to fourth, which we will take. We'll take the fourth overall pick. Ideally, we want that to be in the top 10, or top 5, I mean. But as long as it's top 6, we will take it as well. But we'll continue to do Tankathons as we look ahead to both the NHL and the NBA drafts. Be sure to check out my friends over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of great things going on with their sports fan network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see what they have to offer, how you can get involved, get your voice heard, and then check out some of their podcasts. Lots of good dudes just talking sports, available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And that's clashingconferences.com. And then, of course, Philly Goat. It's Easter. It's 420, whatever holiday you're celebrating today. Check out the Jordan Spector collection. Philly Goat has teamed up with Jordan Spector. His artwork is available, and if you're not familiar with him, look him up. Philly sports-based artist, does some phenomenal pieces, some phenomenal artwork. You've probably seen some of his work just around different places. He's also always has stands set up throughout the city during special events and big events. But go to Philly Goat, check out the Jordan Spector art collection, and be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off the Jordan Spector collection. All right, today we're going to go back to 2003. And speaking of the Sixers and Flyers, there was a point in time, kids, where our winter sports teams made the playoffs. And one of those times was back in 2003. On this day, the Sixers beat the Hornets 98-90 in Game 1 of the first-round playoff series. Allen Iverson went off for a playoff career-high 55 points. AI got that on 21 for 32 shooting. including 3 for 5 from three-point range, went 10 for 11 from the line, added 8 assists. The 55 points is also a Sixers playoff record, which of all the amazing players from Doc, Wilt, AI himself, Joe, James Harden, nobody has gone off for more points in a playoff game than Allen Iverson did on this day in 2003. It was hands down his best playoff performance overall of any, and he had some magical ones throughout his career. The Sixers that year finished as the 4th seed. They were 1 game back of the Nets for the division and the 2 seed. Unfortunately, they were not able to get it done. They did win this series against the Hornets in 6 before falling to the Pistons, the Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace-led Pistons in the second round, 4-2. This was their last longer run with Allen Iverson. Things kind of went downhill fast for the Sixers over the subsequent years, kind of leading us into the process days. Also, speaking of playoffs, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. On this day in 2011, the Flyers were in the playoffs, and they lost to the Sabres 1-0 in their first-round playoff series, evening that series at 2 games apiece. I believe the Flyers would go on to win that in 7 games, the defending Eastern Conference Championship Flyers. But this is all about AI today. On this day in 2003, a Sixers and Allen Iverson career high in the playoffs, 55 points in a 98-90 win over the Hornets. And then finally today, we're going to continue and finish up our missing ring spotlight. And maybe we saved the best for last here. And we're going to continue with Allen Iverson today. AI played here for 12 total years. Remember, he came back near the end of his career. While in Philly, a 9-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, League MVP in 2001, 7-time All-NBA, 4-time scoring champ. He's on the NBA's All-75th anniversary team. He's in the Naismith Hall of Fame. His number 3 is retired. You know all the accolades about Allen Iverson. Obviously, no one, I feel, in the history of Philadelphia sports, maybe even sports in general, played with more heart than Allen Iverson. Maybe he wasn't the greatest practice player, but when the game was on the line and the lights were shining, nobody gave more, I think, from the start of the game to the end of the game than Allen Iverson. Best chance, and led to the Sixers to the playoffs many times, and best chance was probably that 2000-2001 season. They had no shot of beating the Lakers that year, but man, was that a fun ride. And if you were in the city, around the city at that time, you just know how awesome. And the entire city just, obviously, when the Phillies won in 2008 and the 2 Eagles Super Bowls, everybody came together. But I think being like the first time since 1993 that we had like a legitimate shot. Like, I don't remember people coming together during the Stanley Cup run in 97 the way they did. But everybody was watching Sixers games. Everybody had the Sixers car flags. It was just insane. And then when they had those epic games in the Eastern Conference playoffs and even stole Game 1 out in L.A., I still owe a certain someone in this listening audience some money for some new drywall in his home that he doesn't live in anymore. So, Ryan, I got you. Hit me up, send me your Venmo. But just the entire crowd, the entire city, the entire region just fell in love with this team. But that was AI's best chance. And it's hard to figure out. I've talked about this on podcasts before. Was it AI's fault? Was it Billy King and Larry Brown's fault for not giving him a Robin to his Batman? And maybe they tried and AI couldn't have played with somebody, but he seemed like he did well when he went out to Denver and played with Carmelo Anthony. So hard to, I mean, let me know your thoughts on that, but it's hard to figure out a blame. But all I know is AI gave his all every time he went out of the court and certainly deserved to win a ring. So our final missing ring, one of my all-time favorite Philly athletes, is Allen Iverson, who just never got over the hump. Probably one of the most well-known and most beloved Sixers Allen Iverson, it was a rocky relationship at times, but everybody loved AI, and he is our missing ring spotlight. That does lead to today's question of the day. It's kind of a variation of one we did a couple weeks ago, and I got caught a lot of slack for this one when I put Charles Barkley in there. But to end the missing rings, which player deserved to win a ring more? Was it Allen Iverson or Brian Dawkins? Two fan favorites, two guys who gave everything they had every game, came up short, and never had a chance to win. Who deserved a ring more, Allen Iverson or Brian Dawkins? I think, and I know, knowing what I know now that we got 2 Super Bowl rings, I might go AI here. But let me know your thoughts. 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest. But who deserved the ring more? Allen Iverson, Brian Dawkins. Let's go. On this day back in 2003, Allen Iverson went for a career playoff high 55 points. Also a Sixers playoff high in a 98-90 win over the Hornets in Game 1 of their first-round playoff series. 2011, Flyers lose 1-0 to the Sabres in the playoffs as well. We will have more on the Phillies tomorrow as they close out the series with the Marlins. Jesus Luzardo making his first start against his former team. We also have our Tankathon for the Flyers and the Sixers, and we're going to gear up for the Phillies-Mets. First Phillies-Mets series of the year, and it's a big one. So we will have everything you need, Phillies-Mets, as we continue to get ready for the work week. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for April 20th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Sunday. Don't eat too many jelly beans. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.